The world inside Jasper's head, a story of grounding and finding focus. The dragon's scales shimmered like melted rubies as it swooped low over the crystal mountains. Jasper gripped the reins tighter, feeling the wind whipping past his face as they banked sharply around the cloud bank that glowed pink in the sunset. Below, the lost city of Qumlan sparkled with 1,000 points of light, and somewhere in those ancient towers waited the silver key that could... Jasper! Jasper! Jasper Montgomery! The dragon vanished. The mountains crumbled into dust. Jasper blinked, and suddenly he was staring at 23 pairs of eyes and Mrs. Parker's concerned face looming over his desk. "Welcome back," she said gently, though her mouth formed a tight line. Around him, his classmates giggled. Emma Jackson whispered something to Madison. They both laughed harder. Sorry, Mrs. Parker," Jasper mumbled, his cheeks burning hot. "Third time today, buddy," Mrs. Parker said, straightening up. "I asked you to come and solve the math problem on the board." Jasper looked at the whiteboard where a long division problem sat waiting. His stomach dropped. He had no idea what they'd been learning. He stood up, his chair scraping loudly, and walked to the front of the room on wobbly legs, feeling every eye following him. He picked up the marker. The numbers swam in front of him like strange hieroglyphics. Behind him, someone coughed. Someone whispered. His hand trembled. "It's okay," Mrs. Parker said quietly. "Just try your best." But Jasper couldn't even remember where to start. Tuesday evening the following week, Alicia Montgomery sat across from Mrs. Parker in the too small third-grade classroom chair, her hands folded in her lap while Jasper waited in the hall. Parent-teacher conferences always made her nervous. "I want to start by saying that Jasper is a wonderful child," Mrs. Parker began, and Alicia felt the butts coming like a thundercloud. "He's creative, kind to others, and when he does engage, he shows real intelligence. But Mrs. Montgomery, I'm worried about him. He's spending more and more time in his own world. He misses instructions, doesn't complete assignments, and during recess while other kids play, he sits alone drawing in that notebook of his." Alicia nodded slowly. "I've noticed things at home, too. Last week, he walked straight into the glass door because he wasn't looking. The week before, he left the bathtub running and flooded the bathroom. And yesterday..." She paused, remembering the crash, the broken lamp, Jasper's startled face emerging from whatever world he had been visiting. "Yesterday he tripped over the dog because he didn't see her right in front of him." Mrs. Parker leaned forward. "I don't want to alarm you, but this is beginning to affect his academic progress. He's a bright boy, but he's falling behind. I want to refer him to see the school counselor, but I need your signature of permission on this form to do that. Do you agree?" "Yes," Alicia said quickly. "Yes, I do. And thank you." As she drove home, Jasper quiet in the back seat with his ever-present notebook, Alicia's mind spun with worry. That night, after tucking him in and kissing his forehead, she sat staring at the glow of her laptop, feeling both helpless and hopeful. Quickly, she typed a message to her online moms group, women she'd never met in person but who had become a lifeline over the years. "My 8-year-old is having trouble focusing. He daydreams constantly, and it's affecting his life, both in school and at home. Any advice?" The responses came quickly. Some suggested cutting sugar. Others recommended more outdoor time or strict routines. But one message caught her attention. "My daughter had similar issues. We tried Clematis flower essence and saw real improvement after a few weeks. It helps with being present and grounded. Might be worth researching." Flower essence? Alicia had never heard of it. She called her sister Elena the next morning. "Clematis?" Elena said over the phone. "I'm not familiar with that specific one, but I've used Rescue Remedy for years. It's a blend of other flower essences developed by the same doctor. When I was going through my divorce and felt like I was falling apart, it really helped me level out. It's not like medicine, you know? It works with your energy in a gentler way. But it does work. I'd say give it a try. What can it hurt? That weekend, Alicia found a natural health store tucked between a Thai restaurant and a bookshop. A woman with silver-streaked hair and kind eyes helped her. Clematis, the woman said, nodding. One of Dr. Bach's original essences. It's for dreamers, people who live more in their imagination than in the present moment. It doesn't suppress their gifts, mind you. It helps them bridge both worlds. Alicia held the small amber bottle up to the light. And it actually works? It's not like a placebo? The woman smiled. Flower essences work with the energetic body, the subtle variations of our emotional and mental states. Think of it like this. Emotions and thoughts have frequencies, and the essences help restore balance to those frequencies. Some people feel it right away. Others take time. But if your son is truly a Clematis type, you'll see the changes. That evening, Alicia put 4 drops in Jasper's water glass at dinner. She didn't tell him what it was, just that it might help him feel more focused. She didn't expect miracles. Elena's voice echoed in her head. It works with your energy in a gentler way. The changes didn't happen overnight. For the first week, Alicia saw nothing different. Jasper still drifted during homework, still forgot to brush his teeth until she reminded him 3 times, still walked through the house like he was navigating 2 realities at once. But then, small things. In week 2, at dinner, Jasper looked up at her and asked, "Mom, how was your day?" It was such a simple thing, but it was the first time in months he'd asked. Actually looked at her face while she answered. At school, the guidance counselor, Mr. Rodriguez, met with Jasper twice a week. He taught him something called the 5 senses check-in, a way to anchor himself when he felt too lost in his imagination. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. It's not about stopping his imagination, Mr. Rodriguez explained to Alicia. That's a gift. It's about teaching him to use it intentionally rather than getting lost in it. In week 3, Mrs. Parker sent a note home. Jasper participated in our science discussion today. He had creative ideas about how plants grow. By week 4, something shifted. Jasper still daydreamed, still built elaborate worlds in his head, but it was different now. He seemed to have 1 foot in each realm, able to move between them with more awareness. At recess one day on her day off, Alicia watched through the school fence as Jasper sat under a tree with his notebook. But this time, 2 other children sat with him. He was showing them something on the page, and they were laughing. Not at him, but with him, delighted by whatever story he was sharing. He's doing much better, Mrs. Parker said at their follow-up conference in November. He's still dreamy, but that's just who Jasper is, and honestly, we need more dreamers in this world. But he's present now. He hears me when I call his name. He's completing his work. She paused, smiling, and Mrs. Montgomery, you should see the stories he writes. They're remarkable. The announcement came in December, printed on bright green paper and sent in every backpack. The Jefferson Elementary school-wide writing competition. Any student could enter. The topic? An adventure I'd like to have. Jasper's eyes lit up when he read it. Mom, can I enter? Of course, honey. For 2 weeks, Jasper worked on his story. But something was different about this process. He'd set a timer, an idea from Mr. Rodriguez, and work in focused bursts, then take breaks to run around the backyard or help set the table. He'd do his 5 senses check-in when he felt himself drifting too far away. And he asked questions. Mom, how long would it take to sail across an ocean? Mom, what do mountains look like in real life? He was building bridges, Alicia realized, between his inner world and the outer one. The morning of the competition results, Jasper actually ate his breakfast without reminder. He tied his own shoes. In the car, he looked out the window at the frost-covered trees and said, "They look like they're wearing crystal armor." "They do," Alicia agreed, her heart swelling. The whole school gathered in the gymnasium. Principal Hayes stood at the microphone holding a stack of papers. She announced the third-place winner, then second place. Jasper sat with his class, his hands folded in his lap. "And our first-place winner," Principal Hayes said, her voice warm, "is a third grader who took us on an unforgettable journey to a world where imagination and reality dance together. Jasper Montgomery, for his story, The Dream Walker." The gymnasium erupted in applause. Jasper stood up, his face flushed with surprise and joy. He walked to the stage, careful, present, one foot in front of the other, and accepted the blue ribbon and certificate. When Jasper returned to his seat, Emma leaned over and whispered, "Your story was really good. Can I read it again?" "Sure," Jasper said, smiling. "I can tell you about the sequel I'm planning, too. It's about the dream weavers who protect the border between sleeping and waking." Emma's eyes widened. "That sounds amazing." That night, Alicia tucked Jasper into bed, the blue ribbon hanging on his wall above his desk, already surrounded by his drawings and maps of imaginary lands. "Mom?" Jasper asked sleepily. "I still think about the dragon and the crystal mountains and stuff." "I know, baby. That's wonderful. But now I also think about real things, too. Like tomorrow, we're having pizza at lunch, and I have library. And Marcus said he'd play kickball with me at recess if I want." He yawned. Alicia smoothed his hair back. "You are becoming more balanced. You get to have both, your incredible imagination and the real beautiful world. They both need you." She turned off the light and stood in his doorway for a moment, watching him drift toward sleep. On his desk, the amber bottle of Clematis caught the moonlight. Next to it, Mr. Rodriguez's reminder card. "You are the bridge between worlds." And beyond that, the notebook that had worried her so much just months ago, now filled not just with escapes from the here and now, but with stories he could share, worlds he could invite others into, dreams rendered in careful words that connected him to people rather than separating him from them. Jasper had always been gifted, but now, finally, he was learning to bring those gifts home. Outside, the snow began to fall, and somewhere in the space between waking and dreaming, a dragon circled the crystal mountains, waiting patiently for a boy who would return to visit, but who would also, always, find his way back home. And that brings us to the end of The World Inside Jasper's Head, a story of grounding and finding focus. For Jasper, the Clematis essence wasn't a cure. It was a quiet hand reaching through the fog. It didn't dim his imagination or dull his wonder. It simply helped him find the thread that led him back home. With a little guidance, a little practice, and a few gentle drops, he learned how to live in both worlds, the one he dreamed and the one waiting right in front of him. Sometimes the most beautiful kind of grounding doesn't anchor us down. It teaches us how to stand steady while still letting our imagination fly. Thank you for listening. If Jasper's story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that balance doesn't mean losing your magic. It just means learning where to plant your feet. Until next time, take care and stay present.